I'd now like to invite up onto stage Christophe de Rassenfosse. Now, Christophe, former head of product at Property Finder in the UAE, and now has set up Big Wave. Okay, and he's going to talk about how AI can enhance marketplaces.
Seems to be the topic of the day.
It is going to be the topic of the next 2 days. You won't escape.
Thank you, Simon. So, what's up here? Yeah. Imagine a world where home seekers have direct access to properties. Okay. Now, there is this fear of missing out. There is multiple portals. And it's so easy today to write a script, a prompt, asking or copying exactly the search box from a portal. I want to have all the property for sales in Dubai using data from Popular Broker, I don't know them, Bayut, Dubizzle, Property Finder, include me the price, the list, in a list, the agencies, the price, the bedroom, and I don't want any duplicate in that list. It's been done on Perplexity last week, so it works. Can be improved. There's a lot of area that needs to be tweaked there, but that's possible. Now, is it the end of an era for portal? The last two presentations says, no, you know, slow adoption. It's true, but if you look at classified business, print business, it's the same dynamic. The fundamental remain constant. It's demand, it's supply, there is matching in between, and obviously monetization with high margin. That said, portal or classified has been historically disrupted. So we have obviously the way the audience, the way the demand was captured evolved. Print, web, mobile, then we work on SEO, then we had this wave about social media, and now AI. The inventory also evolved. We went from black and white print, that was mentioned 5 minutes ago, to 3D plan, through virtual tour, to real on social media. The matching also evolved. We go more and more to a personalized matching, that's for sure, but it's still based on a very simple number of filters. And the business model evolved. So there is this hype, it's mainly subscription, but do you sell slots? Do you sell per lead? Do you take a share of the commission? The model evolved. So historically, we've been disrupted, which means that stability in our industry is a myth. Now, I'm Christophe de Rassenfosse. I've been in dominant advertising portal, DAP, Malcolm, for the last 15 years in executive leadership team. So I know what it is to run a leading marketplace in whatever it was, job or real estate. And what I'm going to tell you in the next 15 minutes is the impact on AI on the marketplace dynamic. So again, the flywheel is simple. Demand, supply, matching, monetization. But if you start a marketplace from scratch today, you will do that with an AI or Gen AI mindset. So you will do things differently. What I'm going to get you is, through that flywheel, is that what is really a game changer, in my opinion? Does it make you more efficient as a company? Or costly is it to set up? And finally, if you create a new consumer experience or client experience. So let's start with the demand generation. For years, Google has been a dominant source of home seeker. So we've been fighting hard to minimize the resilience on Google. You know, we work on SEO, but the SEO traffic comes from Google. You spend marketing budget, but that budget also is spent on Google. Then they have the GDN, they have social media, and we report clicks and visits. We never talk about the user. We never talk about the individual in our industry. That needs to change. Today, Gen AI amplified this need of, I need an answer. I don't need a list of potential answers. and I need to scroll that list myself. The SERP is almost dying. What Gen AI wants is providing an answer with a variety of sources, and they aggregate that. So is it the end of the SERP? That's the question. I'm going to use that framework. It tells you a bit about how I think. On the demand generation side, as a portal, the cost to revenue ratio on marketing is roughly, on performance marketing, is roughly between 15 and 20%. So you spend a lot of money in getting or creating that demand. Now, SEO can be highly optimized. You can create text at scale. We've been doing that for the last 2 years at Property Finder. There is a huge efficiency win at a very low cost. So you should do that in a way. Is it a game changer? No, because you optimize your SEO landing page. You create more efficiency, but it's not a game changer. Google understands that trend as well. I mean, obviously, they work on Gemini, but they also work and they launch an AI overview, which try to meet the consumer demand, is providing an answer. That's not new. You know, they've been doing that for flight, for job. If you look for a receipt, you get the receipt itself. It pushed the organic result down, and we saw earlier that the SEO traffic is not gaining any traction anymore. There is no growth there. But Google is aware of that. And setup costs might be high because we don't know exactly how to be that brand which Google trusts to be present in that single position. So you're going to need to do a lot of experiment on that. Therefore, the setup cost is high. Social media, huge efficiency gain in the production of the media, no doubt. What I see as well is that real estate agencies are splitting the marketing budget. There is one budget for portal and one budget for social media, where they do and operate their own campaign. With 2 images, they can build a video, they can distribute that, they can build their brand for inventory, which is not typically on the portal. Take the primary market, for instance. So there is a threat here for us as a portal that the lead or the light becomes the new lead. And how to transfer that, I don't know how it happened, but I know that real estate agencies are actually spending more money on social media themselves. Therefore, it might be a game changer for us if the production of media is democratized. Finally, Google is disrupted. And that I like very much, because I've been spending too much money on Google. I'm not saying that ChatGPT will replace search. What I'm saying is that ChatGPT, for instance, launched the GPT search in October last year. It already has 4% of the total search traffic. So it's still limited, but the habit is there. They will move to a world where you got instant results with real-life information. That's for sure. You cannot stop that trend, and therefore that's a huge game changer. And they are already over Bing, which is a very low bar. Now, let's move to the inventory, the supply side of things. And here I'm super excited as well, because if you look at our portal, big portal, manage large inventory, and I'm talking about 100,000, 200,000 of listings, okay? It's quite complicated to get the listing. So the listing acquisition flow is super cumbersome on portal. You have to type your text, upload your image, then create a lot of attributes using very old-fashioned and outdated taxonomies. You need to integrate with feeds. Large companies use CRM that publish on multiple portals. There is, you surely have quality standard that you need to apply. There is some kind of control mechanism in there. And finally, fraud detection, how to remove clickbait, how to remove fake listing. It can easily take up to 20% of the tech budget in my experience. Now, you can actually create appealing content with AI, okay? We have the opportunity, and I'll use a vision video created a year ago. So things change, but it tells you what you can actually do.
In the near future, the journey to matching a home seeker to the perfect home will be easier than ever. A journey of excellence that empowers agents like Khaled to effortlessly create a high-quality listing by simply uploading photos of the property they wish to advertise. Our AI-optimized listing flow not just instantly pulls property details, but also enhances each listing with insights that are most important to home seekers when considering a property. In just a few clicks, Khaled is able to review and adjust all listing details, included amenities, payment terms, and date from when it's available. When it's time to go live, is not only automatically verified, but is also eligible to rank at the top of our search results, ensuring the listing attracts a home seeker just as fast as its creation.
Now, it's obviously still using the current business model, but what is important? From the picture, you can actually derive the attribute. You don't need to maintain taxonomy anymore. One of the biggest problems is, do you have any filter that says sea view? No, you don't, because water can be a sea, can be a river view, can be a lake view, can be whatsoever, and it's too cumbersome. The list becomes too long. Not with AI, it disappears. You can enhance the text as well. So there is so many opportunity here to actually improve and enhance the inventory. The question is, as a portal, how do you create your own IP? I mean, build or buy will be a key decision. You're going to need to create some competitive advantage. You cannot just rely on that. And that's up to you to decide what IP you want. So it's definitely a game changer in the industry. Think of the journey, the acquisition, you saw that in the video. But for the feeds, you can actually, on the fly, enhance the content of the feed. You don't rely on implementation on the CRM. So that's super relevant as well for us. The quality can be automated. You can spot if it's a rendered image, if it's a fake image. You can develop more and more algorithms to detect fraud. I mean, we have a pricing algorithm that tells me if it's a clickbait or not. We have the duplication algorithm. It's not Gen AI, but it's using multiple data points to create a machine learning algorithm that tells you, okay, this is right, this is wrong. So on the supply side, huge progress. The lead generation, matching, search, big topic as well. I think it's the consumer scrolling a list is obviously history. I mean, we don't go to page 5 of Google since almost since Google was launched. So that's nothing new. We know that. But the thing is, with our inventory today, we have a fixed number of filters, and it's not what consumers are looking for. Now, you need to understand your home seeker. In that case, there is a lot of questions being asked, which are not necessarily coming from the description of a unit. So again, I give you one example here to understand better
A home seeker like Sarah, who is searching for her dream home with Property Finder's AI-powered experience. In just a few exchanges, Sarah is more informed about her options and already looking at the best properties matching her needs. Each listing equipped with comprehensive insights that guide her towards making an informed decision. Once a contact is initiated, the agent, Khaled, receives an instant notification on the new PF Expert Agent app, enriched with details from Sarah's conversation with the AI. Using the powerful built-in chat, Khaled stays on top of all his conversations. He is able to seamlessly share media and insights with Sarah on the listing and set up a house visit in just a few clicks.
So what's happening here? We are not selling clicks anymore. The lead is fully enriched. We understand the soft criteria of a lead. And that's the revolution. You know, so the search filter, as we know today, are history. I can be much more advanced with dynamic taxonomies than today. That's 100% sure. analyze the picture, make sure that it's complying with the text. You create your own ecosystem, and then you can finally have a filter, sea view, river view. Now, the lead scoring for me, it's a huge game changer and a huge efficiency win. I know that Sarah has a family. I know that she's running and she wants to live close to a track. I can start scoring the lead, not scoring the consumer, but scoring the likelihood to transact on that single property. That has a huge cost. And that is something that if you do properly, you can monetize better. I'll come back on that. The only thing which you need to invest in is to create that context. How do you know today that there is a running track in a specific area? It's a content that you need to build somehow. It's not necessarily available like that, and that's your own IP. You're going to create that context. You're going to capture requirements from home seeker. From you have the listing, then you have the context, and that's where the magic happens. Conversational search, typing. There was a question before. I'm not a big fan of typing myself, but if you look at WhatsApp, how many vocals do you get? I mean, WhatsApp, it's already 10 to 15% of vocals. So the interface might be voice for sure, but it must be quick. You need to understand that, and that's definitely something where there is a huge efficiency gain in collecting the requirement from the home seeker and enriching that lead. The minute you have a quality lead that is likely to transact, you can definitely monetize differently than today. Which brings me to the monetization. There's nothing I can do, so to say, about the model itself. There was one question about the pricing. Yes, you can use big data concept to go and optimize your price point, but that's not the story here. The story here that we are selling listing. How we do that today, slot subscription doesn't matter, but you are selling listing. What you need to do is to bring your client on your own platform. You're going to need to demonstrate the ROI. It's not enough just to pass a quality lead if the client is not aware that it's a quality lead. So you're going to bring the client to the product itself. You're going to need to sell your product experience with potentially a dynamic pricing or explaining what the ROI is about. Finally, you go to a value-based pricing. Our issue is the take rate, okay? So when you look at it from the inventory, you check the transaction, then you do, clever people do clever math around that, that's okay. But if I'm sure that with that lead that I've qualified and I can predict the transaction, there is much more efficiency wins for the agency. And then you can have the AI-driven ROI prediction in the product itself. And it becomes a daily tool for the agency to win market share in the community they are in. Finally, the big game is when you operate an AI company. Here, I won't have time to go into the detail, but there is obviously a lot that you can do through AI. Think about the cost of customer services. You have a knowledge base, you can actually automate all of that and maybe just dedicate some agent for screen sharing for complex matter. There is tech efficiency, there is marketing efficiency. All that can be done, but then you operate an AI company. So in a nutshell, it's a journey, okay? I've seen not price increase, but valuation increase through those type of efficiency, okay? But the thing is, qualified lead, go to the fundamental. You have your demand, you have your supply, you qualify the lead. The lead are actually better qualified than before, and you can monetize that differently and increase your margin through automation. So that's, in a nutshell, what the impact of AI is on the monetization model and on getting high margin from what we do best. So, stability is a myth, for sure. We have to change. We have to adapt or we're going to collapse, that's for sure. You cannot just stay with the status quo. Even if the search will not evolve in the next 6 months, it will evolve in the next 2 years. Like we had for mobile, like we had for big data. It's always a revolution that takes time to materialize, but no doubt the impact on the flywheel is huge. Thank you very much.
Christophe, thanks for that. Can we bring up the questions, please? Thank you. Okay, Google's just disrupted. I like very much because I spend a lot with Google, I understand that. The same can be said for agencies spending on portals. Okay, is it the same risk for portals because the sentiment is the same?
True. I mean, and that's why I clearly see no client dedicated social media budget, because the dynamic is different. On portal, you still advertise a listing. You don't advertise a project or a community, and they want to be number one in community. So yes, for sure. Now the key is, for them as well, they need leads. Okay, and if you can qualify those leads, then you win. Again, no doubt.
Okay.
So I'm confident.
What are your thoughts on a portal using AI to suggest listings versus given a true AI-powered voice or free-to-text search?
I had the same debate when we launched recommendation in jobs. Technically, the technology allows you to predict that's the job for you, or that's the property you want to live in. Humanly, you want to have a choice. So I don't think that you can suggest just one. You're going to need to give a panel of choice and explain why those choices are good for you. So there is no risk.
Okay, and do you think it's worth the loss of control for a better UX experience? Is it because you lose control in the whole process?
No, you lose control on how you distribute the views of your listing. At the end of the day, the lead matters more than the control of how many pages we will create. I don't care about page view. I do care about making sure that you contact the right agent and that you can transact with that agent.
Okay. To what extent can bloated portals, okay, tackle operational efficiencies?
Excuse my French, but bloated.
The way something's bloated is sort of fat. Right?
Okay. Fat, yeah.
Okay.
Fat, arrogant, whatsoever. That's why it takes time. I mean, in the framework, the setup cost is also how you can move those big portal dinosaurs in the industry to the new world. Think of how you collect listing today. It's a pretty costly piece of software that you're going to need to replace. You can't replace it in day one. You're going to need to evolve that. You're going to need to take care about the feed integration. So it takes time. But for sure, they have pressure on the board, on the shareholder to optimize and make it more efficient.
Okay.
100%.
Last question. Isn't the AI search, or the AI agent search you're proposing basically a personal assistant that can offer way more than just property search, but all sorts of additional property searching, property shopping, or personal shopping needs as well?
Yeah, you mentioned always on. What is complex in the market is maybe 50% of the listing are advertised on portal. Some are only advertised on the agency website. Some are duplicated across portals. So as a consumer, it takes time. Yes, so my prompt was mainly it's not a commercial idea, it's me doing that search, running in the background, and then I get all the new leads, yes, for sure.
I was thinking about this just before. If I was to go back to 1990, I'm trying to remember when I was at university in the US and the internet was just emerging. I went to the University of Minnesota. It was the Golden Gophers, and there's HTTP, which is the World Wide Web, but there was also Gopher, which was a different way of searching the internet in those days, and the Gopher died, but the World Wide Web lived. And at that point in time, if you had described what we're talking about today, I would feel like I'm watching a science fiction film, right? I'm going online, sure. I'm seeing all the listings. So therefore, when we start to talk about the future again, 5 years, 10 years from now, and the concept of having these AI agents, are we sort of projecting the next Star Wars or Star Trek type experience, which is sort of like fun but unreal? Or do you truly believe that we'll be running around with our own little AI agents doing different things? I'll have my travel AI agent, I'll have my real estate search AI.
I see where you go. The AI agent, in my perception, can easily automate repetitive tasks. They cannot capture today the full extent of what I'm after. I mean, if you have a personal agent that is organizing your travel, you can tell him, I want to go from there to there, and then I want to optimize my points, and then I want to see in the window seat only. At one point in time, it's getting too complex, he will turn to you. Okay, so it's the same for all those personal assistants. I see AI for the portal as an opportunity to enrich the demand acquisition, or enhance the demand acquisition, enrich the inventory, understand better the soft criteria, and then propose a quality lead.
Right.
That's it, that stops here.
So the one question, which I want to go back to your monetization sort of question, all these portals are built on this wonderful model of taking all the listings and convincing an agent to spend more money, to go to the top of the search, because they're going to get more leads, they're going to get all this. Does that house of cards start to tumble if at the end of the day the AI agent is just giving me the 5 properties that matter?
Yeah, I really believe that monetization or visibility product on a SERP is not the future. The pricing model that was mentioned around Seek, we've done that at Property Finder as well. We have thousands of data points for 100,000 of listings because of multiple dimension, and it's always back to, is my lead able to transact on that single property? And that's what we monetize. And that's why I like your example of the early days of internet. Yes, it was like that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Long enough ago
but it forces us to evolve, and that's
Yes.
where we are with this AI generation.
Fantastic. Christophe, thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you again.